The yin-yang symbol is probably very familiar to us. Understanding the meaning of yin and yang will give us a more comprehensive view of how the universe and life work. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe buttons so we have more motivation to share more useful knowledge for self-growth every day. Alan Watts once said, "All information whatsoever can be translated into terms of yang and yin." This profound statement touches on the very foundation of Taoist philosophy. While the idea of yin and yang is commonly associated with balance and inner peace in modern culture, its true depth goes far beyond these simplistic interpretations. At its core, yin and yang represent opposing yet complementary forces. They embody a paradox, two seemingly contrary energies that exist in constant interplay. This dynamic, where each force attracts and repels the other, creates the perpetual change we observe in the universe. Life and death, winter and summer, light and dark, matter and emptiness. All are physical manifestations of this eternal dance of yin and yang in Taoism. Yin is often associated with the feminine, representing the passive, receptive, and mysterious force. Yang, in contrast, symbolizes the active, visible, and assertive force, often linked with the masculine. It is important to understand that this distinction is not about gender, but about the nature of the energies themselves. Both men and women embody these forces, and each contains the seed of the other. As Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, noted, even within a woman exists an unconscious masculine aspect called the animus, while within a man lies the unconscious feminine, known as the anima. The symbol of yin and yang beautifully illustrates this balance. In the white half, there is a black dot, and in the black half, a white dot. These dots represent the idea that within each force, there is a trace of the other, signifying their interdependence and unity. This intricate balance reminds us that life itself is a dynamic flow, where opposites are not enemies, but rather essential aspects of a greater whole. Understanding this interconnectedness can profoundly change our perception of the universe and our place within it. When we embrace the interplay of yin and yang, we gain insight into the fluid and ever-changing nature of life, finding harmony in both action and stillness, in both light and dark. To understand the concepts of yin and yang, we must first acknowledge that there are no absolute definitions. What is considered yin or yang depends on the situation and context. Lao Tzu, in Chapter 2 of the Tao Te Ching, provides us with a profound insight into this dynamic interplay. Being and non-being produce each other. Difficult and easy complement each other. Long and short define each other. High and low oppose each other. Fore and aft follow each other. These examples show us that yin and yang are not separate forces, but rather complementary aspects that exist in harmony with each other. In any given situation, one force may be more dominant, but it cannot exist without its counterpart. Yin is often associated with qualities that are passive, receptive, empty, low, cold, and dark. At first glance, these attributes may seem of little value, yet they hold immense power and potential. Just as the quiet stillness of the night is necessary for rest and renewal, Yin embodies the foundation upon which growth and energy can manifest. Yang, on the other hand, is active, aggressive, and often associated with light, warmth, height, fullness, and speed. It represents movement, assertion, and expansion. Yang is often seen as the masculine principle, bringing energy and action to life. If we return to the verses of the Tao Te Ching, we can say that qualities such as long and high reflect yang, while short and low reflect yin. Being full of activity and potential corresponds to yang, while non-being, full of emptiness and quiet, aligns with yin. Each is necessary for the other to exist and thrive. In this dance of opposites, we come to realize that the balance between yin and yang shapes the very fabric of our existence. Neither is superior to the other, and neither can function without the other. They are simply two aspects of the same whole, each defining and completing the other. Yin and Yang are inseparable. One cannot exist without the other. Their relationship is what defines their nature. The distinction between the two is not absolute, and whether something is considered yin or yang depends entirely on how they interact with each other. While the active and assertive qualities of yang are often apparent and celebrated, the subtle yet profound power of yin is frequently overlooked. Yet, it holds within it a remarkable strength. Take, for instance, the function of a mug, a simple object, yet one that embodies the importance of yin. The physical aspects of the mug, its shape, material, and structure, are the yang elements. These are solid, firm, and tangible. However, the true utility of the mug comes from its emptiness. It is the hollow space inside that allows it to hold liquid, fulfilling its purpose. Without this emptiness, the mug would simply be a solid object without function. Similarly, emptiness plays a critical role in all aspects of life. Without the space around us, movement would be impossible. A soccer ball cannot be kicked without an open space in front of it. Our voices depend on the silence between words, and we need pauses and sound to communicate. We can only enter a room because it is empty, and the universe itself is governed by vast empty spaces that allow the movement of celestial bodies. Another important characteristic of Yin is its passivity, which society often undervalues. The world pushes us to be proactive, to take action, and to chase after results. We are taught that action is the only path to success, but passivity is equally vital. Consider strength training. Muscles are not built while lifting weights. True muscle growth happens when we rest, when we give our bodies the time to recover. It's during these periods of rest, when we are passive, that the muscles rebuild, becoming stronger. This process, though seemingly inactive, is essential for growth and improvement. Thus, the power of Yin lies in its ability to create space, to allow things to unfold naturally, and to provide the necessary pause that enables progress. Without the balance of Yin, the constant push of Yang would become unsustainable. One of the core qualities of Yin is its receptiveness, and it is this very receptiveness that draws things toward it. This dynamic is observable throughout nature, from flowers waiting patiently for pollinators to a woman at a bar awaiting a man to make the first move, or even in the silent pull of a black hole, which exerts a powerful force without ever actively reaching out. Its gravitational pull is so strong that it attracts all matter nearby, effortlessly. Lao Tzu also speaks of Yin as being soft, drawing a parallel between it and water in contrast to the hardness of rock, which represents Yang. That I end this comparison. We see the soft nature of water slowly eroding even the hardest rock over time, showing us how Yin can overcome without resistance, much like water carving the Grand Canyon through quiet persistence. However, Yin does not exist in isolation. It is always in balance with Yang. Warmth and light, for instance, are essential for life, just as emptiness is meaningful only when something exists within it. A flower's beauty becomes a place of attraction, but it requires the pollinator, represented by Yang, to engage with it. Similarly, a flower can only bloom with the necessary energy and interaction, making this relationship one of mutual dependence. Even within the masculine aspect, there is a feminine side, and vice versa. The bee, for example, may be seen as Yang in relation to the flower, but the bee also carries elements of Yin and Yang within itself. Its action and passivity, fullness and emptiness, offense and defense. This interplay of Yin and Yang can also be found in the most fundamental level of nature. At the atomic level, we encounter opposites, a positively charged nucleus surrounded by negatively charged electrons. This pattern of balance and opposition extends to all levels of existence, even to something as abstract as binary code, consisting only of ones and zeros, which forms the basis of modern digital life. As philosopher Alan Watts notes, our perceptions are made up of a series of yes and no's, an ongoing dance between the two forces. In this complementary nature, Yin and Yang continually regulate one another. When one side becomes too dominant, the other naturally rises to restore balance. We can see this in politics, which constantly shifts between left and right, conservative and liberal, depending on the prevailing circumstances. Lao Tzu speaks of this delicate balance when he writes, "If you want something to return to the source, you must first allow it to spread out. If you want something to weaken, you must first allow it to become strong. If you want something to be removed, you must first allow it to flourish. If you want to possess something, you must first give it away." Thus, the dance between the masculine and feminine forces is not only a foundational principle of Taoist philosophy, but also a universal truth that governs life. Every action, every change, and every event is a reflection of this eternal balancing act. Yin and Yang are not merely opposing forces, but rather complementary, interdependent, and mutually transforming elements. They create and support each other, regulate each other, and in their dynamic interaction, they shape the universe itself. This is especially evident in the cycle of life, where the union of the masculine and feminine brings forth new life, creating a child who, in turn, is made of countless expressions of Yin and Yang. Every aspect of life, every organism, every cell, and every individual component in existence embodies this duality, constantly balancing the interplay of masculine and feminine energies. Even in the smallest particle, Yin and Yang persist as fundamental building blocks of reality. One of the most profound practices in Taoism, called Wu-Wei or effortless action, harnesses the power of both Yin and Yang. This practice isn't about forceful action, but about knowing when to act and when to remain still. In this way, we align ourselves with the natural flow of the universe. Our actions become smooth and effortless, like a river flowing naturally along its course. Embracing Yin allows us to be more receptive to the natural rhythm of life. Many times, we do not need to act. Excessive action often leads to resistance. For example, an overly enthusiastic salesman may drive away potential customers, just as an overly clingy partner may push their loved one further away. In such instances, the problem often resolves itself without intervention. Sometimes, less is more. By stepping back and allowing situations to unfold, we enter a state of Yin, where passivity becomes a powerful tool for growth. However, as with all things, balance is key. Too much passivity, like too much action, can be detrimental. Yin and Yang teach us that every aspect of life has its opposite. We cannot appreciate sweetness without having tasted bitterness. Beauty exists in contrast to ugliness. Wealth is meaningful because of poverty. In this way, opposites do not negate each other, but rather sustain the balance that gives life its depth and meaning. Thus, we can learn to appreciate those who seem to disrupt our lives. The colleague who annoys us, the driver who cuts us off in traffic, or even those with beliefs and customs that differ from our own. In their contrast, we find clarity about who we are. They offer us a mirror in which we see the reflection of our own values, reminding us that without the opposites, we would have no measure for what we hold dear. If this video resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to continue receiving content that challenges and nourishes both the mind and soul. We'd love to hear your thoughts or questions in the comment section below. Until next time, may you stay wise, stay stoic, and continue your pursuit of a life filled with purpose, balance, and peace.